So Terry, I mean, you know, the minister wants to talk about facts, and that's a great way to bore your listeners, is to bring out numbers. But the minister did roll out a couple of numbers that I take issue with. You know, one of them is the issue of the deficit. This government, when they took office, the deficit was close to zero, and they then jacked it up, including a slush fund of over $150 million a year.
David is disagreeing with you.
And
well, Terry, again, Terry.
So wait,
Okay, hold on, Mr. Melanson, hang on one second. I'm going to let him make his case.
Well, let's be factual, Minister. There's one number you've been throwing about, and I'd like to know a little bit more about it. You've said there's 4% growth in this province. I'd like you to explain that number to us.
So in 2015, we had over almost 2.3% growth in 2015. Another growth in 2016 by what 4.4%, and projected to grow by over 1% again in 2017. So I did say there was actual growth and projected growth, and it's over 4% over 3 years.
By the way, nobody in economics adds those numbers up. You can't calculate growth in a cumulative way. That's not the way it's done. These are annual figures you're giving us, and you've just told us that last year the growth was 0.4%, and in 2017 we're looking at 1% growth. And yet you come on this show and you want to talk about facts, and you're trying to tell the people of New Brunswick the economy is growing at 4%. It is a lie, Minister. You need to be clear with your figures. It is. You give me the name of an economist that calculates growth the way you calculate.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Melanson.
Yeah, I'm just going to react to that. So
yeah, please do.
The growth we had in 2015 didn't go away. The growth we had in 2016 didn't go away. The growth we're projecting to have this year is projected to grow. So that's how we calculate. What's been growing has grown, and it's actuals.
Listen,
and
a percentage is taken of a total.
So what we're saying is that with
you can't do math.
Hold on one sec.
With actuals and projected growth, the economy is growing. It's growing, and when they were in government, with their doom and gloom approach and cutting everything that they saw, the economy actually shrunk in the province of New Brunswick. And people were in very difficult situation. Today, we're in a better situation. The trends and the economic and fiscal indicators are showing we're growing, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Okay, let me just stop you there.
Figure.
Okay, hold on one second. I want to hear your response, and I'm going to come around the table again. Go ahead, because you and Mr. Melanson are having this debate.
This minister is seeking to deliberately mislead your listeners, Terry. No one calculates annual growth cumulatively. You can't take those numbers and add them up.
But he said
they are
the
annual.
2.3% growth doesn't disappear.
It's there. But Terry, it's of the total. These are percentages of a total. So when you add up percentages, you have to divide it by the total. It's basic math. You take 4%. If you want to add it to 4%, you have to divide it by 4 because it's annual.
Terry?
So if you take 2.3, wait a second. If you take 2.3% and you add on 0.4% and you add on 1% and whatever the other number is to get you to 4, you then have to divide it by 4. Add 4 numbers, you must then divide by 4 for your percentages to work out.
Growth.
Okay, Mr. Melanson.
Just want
it's not cumulative growth because if you want to calculate cumulative growth, you have to take the total figure.
Hang on.
You have to take the total figure. Now listen, I don't have a chalkboard, and I'm not an economics professor.
Too bad, but we might want to add that for the next panel.
I've asked the minister to tell me the name of the economist who does this kind of math.
I so wish Mr.
do.
Melanson was here with us.
Me too.
These are annual figures.
Okay,
These
Mr.
are
Melanson.
percentages. When you add percentages,
Like a chalkboard.
I'd like to be looking at Mr. Melanson's face right now.
What's interesting